Before we begin today's episode, we would like to share a quick disclaimer. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by the hosts and guests on this podcast are their own personal views and are provided in their own capacity. All content is editorial, opinion-based, and intended for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, the noise stopped, actually.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Yeah, so we bullshitted enough. It went away. And I did you say, it sounded like you said just Ted Fuh.
I said tit fluff.
Tit fluff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen a few times. You know, like
A tit fart?
a tit fluff.
Tit fluff? What did I say? Fart?
Did you say fluff or fart?
Fluff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, tit fluff. You know, like if you're wearing a fuzzy sweater and some of the stuff, like, yeah, you ended up at the end of the day.
Can't say it's happened with my tits.
Yeah. Gets in your
my belly button. I have actually had belly button like before.
It gets in your bra and then it's like poof. There's
so, oh god, it's a long day. There goes the bra. Oh god, there goes the tit fluff too from now on. So that's a double duty. Gotcha.
It's amazing what gets down in there sometimes. It's like, how did that get in there?
What the fuck?
You don't even know it.
The Holy Grail. What the shit?
Piece of ramen? How did that get in there?
Ramen? I didn't even
have any. Right.
Anywho, now that we've recorded all of that.
Yeah. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us once again, Silly Goose Society. And we had such a good time last time talking about badass women in movies. We decided, hey, we need to talk about actual real badass women, people that actually existed in history. And I have just one that I want to talk about because I'm absolutely fascinated with her story. And I think, Kyle, you have somebody that you're equally fascinated with.
Yeah. I just want to backtrack for a second, though. She said, we were so excited about it, which means we didn't shut the fuck up and go on a little tangent like this one, and we ran out of time. So, part 2 of Badass Women.
Yeah. In fact, we couldn't shut the fuck up enough. Like, I had to trim like 45 minutes off of the last episode. So there were a lot that we named that didn't make it into the cut just simply because we had to cut for time. Unless you guys want to listen to an 1.5-hour episode about badass women, we trimmed it down. So you're welcome.
I'm also gonna say is like that's also some kind of foreshadowing of get ready for part 3 and part 4.
Right.
As goddamn we should, because even just regular women are badasses. And I also want it to be stated right now here in the beginning.
Yeah.
If anyone gets upset, we're not going to do the cliched thing, though I do feel this in my heart of hearts. We just don't have time for the cute and emotional cliches and other badass women. I'm not going to go on a cute little heartfelt, another badass woman. Her name is Angie, and she has a podcast. Or other badass women. It's my mom. It's my wife. Though, yes, you are all badass women. I just don't have time or the mental capacity to be emotional and like heartfelt off the cuff.
Yeah.
So, just know y'all are badasses, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know how I feel about compliments. My skin is crawling.
But I digress.
Anyway, yeah. So, are we going to flip a coin? Do you want me to go? You go first. What are we doing?
I'll flip the coin, and you.
Okay.
Yeah, you were going on faith that I was actually going to flip a coin and like actually say.
Come on. All right. So, I'm just going to say off the very top of this. Look, if I butcher some of the names in this story, I apologize. I'm doing the best that I can, but just hang on to the story. Don't get hung up on me mispronouncing somebody's name, location, anything. Because all of this takes place in China And so I just don't want to piss anybody off. I'm doing the best that I can. But this is a fascinating story. So I want to talk about the pirate queen who beat the entire Chinese Navy, who is Qing Shi. I did say that right, I think.
You're asking the wrong motherfucker.
So Qing Shi is wildly considered one of the most successful pirates in history. Although I have to say, I don't hear a lot about her name being brought up like in typical lists, or I probably look through, I don't know, a dozen different badass women lists, and this woman was never mentioned. And so I had to do like a deep dive, and then I found this story and I was like, my God, why aren't more people talking about this fascinating woman? So everything that happened to her happened in the early 1800s during the Qing dynasty. And so the China's coastal trade routes were very wealthy. And of course, anything like that is going to bring out the piracy. So Qing Shi had a very interesting history just before she became a pirate. So they believe she was born around 1775 in Canton, and her original name was Shi Yang, and she actually worked in a floating brothel in the Canton harbor.
Hell yeah.
So but here's the thing with brothels back in that day weren't just places for sex work. They were basically like information hubs. You had merchants, you had naval officers, smugglers, government officials. Everyone was there. Everyone that was like their men's club, and they took relaxation there amongst other things. And so they talked. So amongst other things.
They did the sex.
Right. But basically, this woman was almost running like an intelligent operations office before she even stepped into piracy. And so then in 1801, a pirate commander by the name of Jing Yi raided the harbor. And, instead of like kidnapping her and, doing all this stuff, she literally just sat down as an equal and negotiated with him. And she basically said, look, I will marry you if I receive equal power and half of the profits. Right? And she was just like, yeah, I'll marry you, but I'm going to be co-CEO of this piracy dynasty that you have. So here's the thing, like, okay, we all know the legend of Blackbeard, right? And I looked this up. So Blackbeard, legendary pirate, commanded a ship of around 300 pirates. This bitch had a I don't know what you call it, a pirate confederation of 1,800 ships and between 50 and 70,000 pirates under her command.
Yeah, they would call that a fleet and or a navy. And or an armada all at once. It would be called an armada.
Like, why does Blackbeard get all of the notoriety and this powerhouse of a woman that was, 50, just imagine even the low side of that, 50,000 pirates under her command. Blackbeard had 300, but he gets all the notoriety.
Is that a rhetorical question or like an actual question? Okay.
Rhetorical. Yeah. Yeah, we all know the answer. So she basically,
I would go out on a limb, and I don't mean to sound like a guy. I'm pretty sure it's because he's a guy and so on and so forth. I would probably go on a limb and say it was because he was so brutal and ruthless. That's why he's remembered. Not so much the actual size of his army, but the fact that he never gave any quarter. He's known for his brutality and his menacing look. The man was lethal.
I mean, but she was pretty lethal too. She didn't give two shits about, like, she had a code of ethics, and you either towed the line or you died.
Fair enough.
But, I will say she operated more of like, I guess you could say like an early, like, mafia criminal empire, because they would tax like merchant ships, fishing villages, coastal towns, smugglers, different government, type vessels or whatever. And you basically had to pay protection money. So if you sailed through any waters that she controlled, you either had to pay your protection money or you got boarded. So it was kind of like the mafia, I would say, in that respect, not so much just raiding and,
Being pirate shit.
Yeah.
No, she was definitely the more smart and sane one. It's more extortion. And like I said, definitely the smarter way to go about it. As you can see, she lasted longer and she had a larger, like I said, like armada under her.
So her husband died in 1807 and
under mysterious causes.
Well, they think he actually died during a typhoon. So she basically, most times, like if, you have a man running things, he dies, like everything kind of falls apart, everything, people go their own way, different factions. But no, she pulled one of the most impressive political maneuvers, and took control of the fleet. And she secured the loyalty from all of the commanders. She formed an alliance with Jing Yi's adopted son, Zhang Bao. But with a little spicy twist, Zhang Bao became her second husband. So she married her late husband's adopted son. He was not a son by blood. So she's like, I'm gonna get with you too, and we're gonna run this shit. I love it.
What are you doing, pirate stepmom? I'm caught. I'm stuck in the rigging.
Right.
That's not why I was laughing. I was laughing because she was like, Sheng Bao. And it's like one thing leads to another, bing bong. I'm sitting there, Sheng Bao, bing bong. Now they're married.
Right.
Oh, God.
So
please cut that.
She created one of the most strictest pirate codes ever recorded from any other pirate. Theft from the pirate treasury was the punishment was immediate death. Desertion,
as it should be.
You had your ears cut off.
That's not bad. You can live with that one. You can still be an artist in 1 year.
Any type of disobedience was a beheading. Sexual assault. If a pirate raped a captive woman, the punishment was immediate execution.
You hear that, United States government?
So, and when you think back to that time period, that was very unusual because, that was like how everything was conquered. You pillaged.
You raid, pillaged, and plundered.
Right.
Literally what pirates did. And she was just like, all right, you can't be pirates, but we're going to go be pirates.
However, I will say she also had a rule that if pirates captured unmarried women, they could take them as wives, but had to treat them properly. So if they took a wife from, one of the captured people and abused them, then they were executed. So yeah, it's kind of like, take her for your wife against her will. But you have
forced marriage, but treat her right.
Yeah, so a little, I don't know about that one.
It's like I don't know why my brain instantly went to season 1 of The Punisher, where he was like, if we do this, we kill them all. And Micro's just like, yeah, I can live with that. All right, cool. He has that second of thoughts like, all right, fine, I'll allow it. So it's like, all right, you can make them your wives, but you got to treat them right. All right, I can live with that. All right, cool, fine.
So, during this time, the Qing Dynasty Navy tried multiple times to destroy her fleet. And oh my God, they failed. They spectacularly failed. In one of the famous battles, a Chinese admiral named Q Lang, attacked her fleet. She surrounded his ships and destroyed them. And then that commander or admiral was so humiliated by her actions that he then committed suicide.
I mean, fair enough. Now, was he actually like ashamed, or was it just like typical ancient like Asian culture? I have failed at what I was doing, so now I must die. Like it was, or was that strictly to just Japan?
I don't know. I think he just rage quit life.
Just rage quit life. It was fucking lag, man. It's bullshit. Control Alt Delete forever. Just rage quit.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think it was just a fucking pussy, and he couldn't take losing to a girl. That's all. Fuck that guy.
So eventually the situation gets so bad that China had to ask for European powers for their help. And so Portuguese...
That's how you know you're desperate.
Right.
You're asking colonizers for help.
Yeah. So Portuguese and British ships were sent in to help deal with the pirates. And their fleets even struggled because she knew the coastline so perfectly. She knew that, her fleet would be able to disappear into river systems, hide in fishing villages, so on and so forth. It was literally like naval guerrilla warfare. And so badass.
Because I just, for those of you who don't know, the British Navy was literally the strongest fighting force known to men. The British Navy was the greatest Navy until World War II, when the American Navy really became a thing. Like literally since its inception, the British Navy ran the fucking sea. They really did. Its size, its strength, maneuverability. So for you to put them on their heels and like give the British Navy the boots, that's impressive as fuck.
Yeah, it didn't go well. I don't know about the rest, how they were operating in the rest of the world, but it did not go well for them with Qing Shi and what she was up to in China. In 1810, the Chinese government was absolutely exhausted. They had tried everything. They tried their allies. They tried bringing other people in. They just could not defeat her. So then they did something else. They tried to offer her amnesty. So,
I'm sure that went lovely.
Yeah. So she sailed directly into Canton with 17,000 pirates and negotiated the surrender terms. And she got an incredible deal. They all received a full pardon. All the pirates were allowed to keep all of their wealth. There were no punishments. Her husband, Zhang Bao, actually became a naval officer, and the pirates were reintegrated into society. She basically was like, okay, we're tired of this life. What you got for us? And I mean, I think that's an incredible deal that she was able to. I mean, what else was the government going to do?
Yeah, no, but I just everyone needs to. I feel that no one's really going to kind of take the gravity of this situation. She was such a fucking menace. They threw literally everything at her. So they tried to take care of themselves with their own actual organized army and government and navies, and they got the shit kicked out of them. And then they're like, okay, cool. We are going to literally ask for other help. If I'm not mistaken, they asked other local, some of their enemies too, in the area, listen, we'll stop raiding and pillaging you guys if you guys just get rid of this bitch who's raiding and pillaging us. And they're like, sure. And she gave them the fucking boots, like I said. And then they went to the British Navy and the Portuguese, and she still gave them the fucking boots.
Yeah.
That is, and so they was like, all right, fine. We literally can't we literally can't beat her. Let's just give her what she wants. She gets diplomatic immunity.
So then after all of that, she opens up a gambling house in Canton and raised her family. She lived peacefully and died at around the age of 69 in 1844.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, and I wrote a couple of fun facts. So if you were to add Blackbeard, Captain Kidd, and Anne Bonny, all of their fleets would still not equal to her fleet.
Oh, yeah.
The villages would pay taxes to the pirates instead of the government. I mean, like, imagine, okay, the IRS, knocks on the door. And then you're like, oh, sorry, we already paid the pirates. You get nothing. I mean, that's basically what they...
I mean, isn't that what it's like paying the IRS anyway?
True. She's badass because she was able to do something that no one else in her field of piracy to date has ever been able to do. I mean, she ran her fleet with like supply chains, rank structures, fleet commanders, logistics systems. I think she was a woman very, very, very ahead of her time.
Yeah, she was running like a legitimate like military or government. Like it's the level of organization. That's why shit like that lasts like longer and it's much more effective. It's because there's structure. And like we said earlier, there's the reason Blackbeard wasn't as structured. He just ruled through fear and psychological warfare. So that's why, he had an insanely infamous reign of terror, but it was very, very short-lived because he lived it fast and loose, And as, she did it like this one, ran like a fucking Fortune 500, and the government literally paid her to go away.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's pretty much my story of this badass woman who was a former brothel worker who built a pirate empire, defeated governments, wrote the rules of the sea, and then retired rich. Can't get any more bad.
That is. You want to talk about winning at life?
Badass. So, now, what you got?
I ain't got shit, Denton. I'm just kidding. No, it's this is a little bit of a foreshadowing of what we're going to do in the future of history and historical stuff and things and episodes and shit. Whether you like it or not, at some point during the life of this podcast, we will be talking about the Battle of Stalingrad. Anyhow,
I know you love World War II history.
It's not so much World War... I mean, yes, I do love World War II history, but specifically my favorite thing is specifically that if that's the only World War II episode we do is the Battle of Stalingrad, I'm fine. Insanely crucial. Anywho.
Make it so.
So, the woman I want to talk about is the most decorated female sniper in World War II. The third most decorated sniper overall in World War II. And she's in like the top 5 most decorated and successful snipers in history. And I don't know about y'all, but I think that's pretty goddamn impressive.
I'm so excited. I know who you're talking. I know you're talking. We've talked about her before. I'm so excited. I love this woman.
For the love of God, I am not even going to remotely try to pronounce her name, and I deeply apologize to anyone in her bloodline who may be listening to this, or anyone who's Russian. Yes, sorry, spoiler alert, she's Russian, by the way. Cannot even begin to try to think about how to pronounce her name, but she's got one of the most badass like nicknames that she was ever given. Lady Death.
I love it already.
Literally called Lady Death. So World War II, everyone knows that horrendousness, so on and so forth. And the dumbass with the fucking mustache. One of the dumbasses with the mustaches looks at the other dumbass with the mustache and says, "Hey, let's not attack each other." And he was like, "Okay, ski." And then the other one with the smaller stupid mustache is like, "You know what? Fuck you. I'm going to attack you anyway." Operation Barbarossa. Look at that. I just did like 15 years right there. 10 seconds. So that happens. Germany invades Russia and hits them with the ground running. So unfathomable droves of volunteers, before they were forced to, legitimate volunteers of the Russian people are flocking to sign up for, to defend the motherland. Well, back then during World War II times, it was just anyone can sign up, but the men did the fighting and the women did like what was seen as like the woman's work. You're going to be the nurses. You can help with fortifications and so on and so forth. So she was being, they wanted her to go to be like a nurse, to be a surgeon of some sort. And so she actually started with like digging the trenches and digging the fortifications to halt the German advance. So like a lot of women, the elderly and children, like even like the elderly and children were accepted in doing this too, because total war was claimed by them at this point. But it was at the siege of Odessa to where she was actually in the fortifications. An ambush comes. The Germans kind of show up at the beginning of the siege and whatnot. The person that she was, at the time, also weapons were so scarce throughout Russia. It's 100% true. There'd be two people there. They would give a rifle and no ammo to one person, and they would give the ammo to the person behind them. And they would literally say, when the person with the rifle dies, the person with the ammo picks up the gun, loads it, and shoots.
Jesus.
There was not enough weapons and ammo to go around, so they split everything up. So all she had was her tools, but anything to defend herself, she had one grenade. That's what she was given. The siege is now happening. She's like, I'm not going to use a fucking grenade because I can't, and so on and so forth. So she literally finds a rifle on the ground. Iron sights, by the way. Iron sights. No scope, no nothing. And she takes out two Romanian officers over 400 meters away.
Wow.
To defend herself and in her area. Those are her first two confirmed kills. Was like was like whatever officers of the Axis at the time in her area there. So, and then from there, they were just like, you know what? Sister can shoot. Have her, let her do what she wants. Give her a rifle. Have her go
let
fight the war.
Let this woman cook.
Exactly. Let her cook, but not in the kitchen. Out on the lines. So she goes on for all of that. That's just kind of how it starts. And then it just like that's that boy. Oh boy, here she goes killing again. Because even like before the war even broke out, she was actually in Kiev. Like she was a college student. She was going to be like a historian. Or like a teacher, something like that one. And then the war breaks out and she was just like, I'm going to go kill shit. And they're like, no, you're going to go dig shit. And she goes, no, I'm going to kill shit. And then they were like, okay, never mind. You're going to kill shit. Like, all right, yeah, go. Yeah, you can go kill shit. We're going to allow it. What was really cool, what was really funny though, is like I think they were like the only army that actually enlisted women. Like they were legitimate soldiers, like others. So like France had the resistance, and not saying anything against like the French resistance or the rebel fighters, but that's not an organized. That's the people volunteering. It's not the actual military giving them training and setting them up and so on and so forth. The United States had very, very few. It didn't have as many. But same thing, was still very specific in how it goes. So active, I should say active combat roles. Women were accepted, but nurses, cook, other things like that. Pilots, there was actually women pilots, but the Russians, I believe, were the first ones who put them in active combat roles, like actually give them weapons and say, go shoot shit.
Nice.
So, hey, Soviet Union, way to think forward.
Yeah.
So yeah. She goes on. Yes. I'm just going to this one. What was really funny is that what was the majority made up of at least women, their active combat roles, were snipers. The most women who served in actual roles, they weren't regular gunners or just medics, so on and so forth. The most concentration of them was their sniping corps. And Russian World War II snipers they're some of the top in history. They're some of the legitimate top ones in history. The most of them, that's where they go. Yeah, then now you have Navy SEALs and also special forces, where there's a lot more technology and a lot of other shit. I was like, try to think back to World War II, where literally all you had was like a rifle and a scope and fucking all the time in the world to sit and wait.
Now, am I misremembering, or did she? It's maybe I may be jumping the gun here, but didn't she like have like a whole I don't know what you call it in military terms, a whole passel of women snipers like under her command. Like there was like this group of women under her that became deadly.
Mm-hmm.
Am I
Yep.
remembering right? Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So between the siege of Odessa, where everything kind of started, and then she went on, like I said, I forgot how I don't necessarily remember exactly how far off the top of my head the siege of Odessa went, but like I said, that one of the very first days was when they did that, and you know, then she went into the sniping corps. She moved up through the ranks, and she was getting promoted, I think, of a sergeant by this time. Before the siege had ended, and so yeah, it's to the part where she's actually training more snipers as well too. And she was very specific that she wanted women because she knew the women were making better snipers. She just knew that they were. It wasn't even like a whole women because women empowerment and women because women. It goes like they're just better at it. So the men can go and do all the dying and the running and the tanks and all that kind of fun stuff. The women are going to do the sniping because let's face it, two of the biggest components is patience and timing, and women just tended to be much better at that as they do just throughout history. More patience and better at timing. Yeah. So she goes on to start training like just her own running her own unit, and they are the most successful sniping unit in World War II. I forget the name, same thing. I can't even pronounce them, but I think that's what it was. I think it was like the witches of the trees or something like that was what the Germans ended up calling themselves. Something really fucking badass and eerie, but I can't find whatever the hell of it because I guess we're on the outs that they figured that all the infighting is already happening in the cities, and urban warfare and sniping is an absolute fucking nightmare as it is. So what she would do, what she would do to be so dominant and make sure that every area was covered by her women was that she separated them into two teams, but they were so good at what they did and they could cover so much ground. She actually set up ones almost in the dead center of the city so they can kind of have like that outlook to cover everything else inside of the city. But she positioned her women on the outskirts in the tree lines so they can see the forces coming in and the ones like outside gatekeeping. So more or less her snipers always had the enemy surrounded. She had eyes on all of them everywhere. And they were so good that they didn't actually have to communicate with each other. Some of them, I think one of their most famous ones was taking down a German patrol. There was 3 of them. They were in a triangulated attack. You know, it was herself, like I said, and 2 other of her soldiers. They were in separate positions with a grand total of like 2 kilometers, like a kilometer or 2 in between each other. That's a lot of fucking space. And she has an entire squad. She has a German like patrol pinned down in the middle of the 3 of them. So no matter where they moved, they were just taking them out. The shots are coming from the north, so then they move along to the south side of the cover. Well, guess what? There's one more in the south. Oh shit, we're getting shot from the south, but we can't go to the north. Jump to the west side. Now they have the sniper from the east shooting towards the west. They just, no matter where they went, they were fucked. And it was the most glorious. It was, I loved, when I first read about that, I was like, that is, I can't even begin to describe like the amount of thought that had to go into that. Like I said, and as the unit leader, as the squad leader, she's the one who came up with that idea. That wasn't, you didn't have the generals planning everything out. It all goes down to it. And that's kind of what it goes. Once it gets to the squad leaders, okay, you and your squad, you're taking your team out. You come up with the plan. You come up with the idea. You coordinate what you're going to do. This is World War II. There wasn't this is Soviet Russia, World War II. There isn't radios for them to just call each other and communicate with each other like modern days, or even like the US had. Like they had to run physical wiring to have digital like phone communications with one another. There was legitimate wires that had to be run like a regular telephone wire. If that got cut, you were literally cut off. So they had to know what the other one was thinking, what they were going to do, the timing of their shots from so fucking far away. It's just the sheer scale and the thought of having to plan that out, but knowing how they were going to operate in that specific situation is just wildly insane. At that point, by the end of the siege of Odessa, she had like almost 200 confirmed kills. She had like 180, like 190 confirmed that anyone else can say and can like write an actual statement. Yes, she killed this person on this day. She had almost 200 at the point. She was now the senior sergeant, and by the full end of that but so they say the siege is over, but then there's still like engagements of the enemy, like retreating and whatnot. By the full time she was done with that one, an additional 100. So she's just under 300 confirmed kills with her first within X amount of months. I think it's like 7 months, 8 months. No, that's not. That was her. That was the second one in just 2 months. 2 months from June of 41 to August of 41.
Damn.
Almost 300 confirmed kills.
Damn.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. That's pretty solid. Her and her unit are moved over to the Crimean Peninsula, or to the city, town, whatever, of Sevastopol. That's where she really comes into the commander. They actually pull her off the lines, and they just kind of have her just train as many snipers as they can. Because like I said, in that many months, she had more confirmed, just herself, like I said, just herself. She had more confirmed kills than pretty much the rest of the sniping corps has had in the entire overall run of World War II. So they're like, you know what? Take her off the line, put her in charge.
Yeah.
And then, and then more or less history repeats itself. So now she's there, and then that town starts getting attacked. So then she goes on the offensive there. That one's not so much. That one doesn't run as long because she was doing a lot of training for the most part of it. She was actually wounded with shrapnel from a mortar. So she was taken out. She was evacuated out on June of 42. Don't get me wrong, she still took another 40 sons of bitches with her.
Nice.
She was just severely wounded. I think it was shrapnel went off and it got her in the face a little bit. So she was evacuated out of there, and that was the end of her reign during World War II. But from that one, like I said, then the legend just grows from there.
Yeah.
That's where that was a real big thing, specifically in Russia as well too, was the propaganda and making just these huge stories and like really scaring us. So like the Germans had no idea that she was out. She was still feared to be roaming around there. I mean, in a way she was, because her unit was still very active and they were still going. She herself was not there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the German soldiers didn't know what she looked like. Like they didn't use her pictures in like a lot of like the propaganda about it. So any one of the women could have been her. So they were trying to like, oh, we, if they got any women snipers, the German propaganda was like, we got her, we killed Lady Death. And then like the next day it goes, no, another woman took out another like 17 fucking officers. Like, nope, you didn't get her. She's still out there. It wasn't until like well after the war that they found out that she was out for the last like 3 years of it.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. But yeah, no, so the Russians, like I said, the Russians ended up nicknaming her Lady Death, and it wasn't until I think it was post-war that it had happened that they found out that the Germans saying, I am not even going to try to pronounce what they said, but once again, loose translation from what they called her in German, the Russian bitch from hell.
Nice.
I swear to God, cited in source, that's what the Germans in World War II called her, the Russian bitch from hell.
As well she won, and she earned it, and good for her.
That is just
beautiful. And she was young. I knew
she's 25.
Yeah, I knew you were going to be talking about her, and I was reading it, and I came across this quote where she had gone on this tour in the United States. I did not know. She became really, really good friends with Eleanor Roosevelt.
She did. I think Eleanor Roosevelt sought her out specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after the war, there was a massive, like, same thing. There was a lot of propaganda stuff and the war heroes and so on and so forth. She was sent to Canada in 1942 after she had recovered from her injuries. And she was another one of the people. She was actually brought in. She was loosely advised, thanks to Eleanor about it. So she was very loosely advised about the opening up a second front. More with the invasion of Europe. It was like a wildly. I mean, just for the sheer depth of the secrecy of the landings of
Yeah.
Normandy. It was like an advisor talk to an advisor, talk to an advisor, talk to an advisor to her. So some of her ideas and some of her things. So it's not confirmed.
Yeah.
It's not confirmed, but there's loose reports that potentially she was the one who kind of put the bug in the air of, hey, you should take you have guys that jump out of planes. Yeah. Fly your planes past them, drop them off, and have them just wreak fucking havoc. I think, because she, with that one, a lot of the snipers, they did a lot of guerrilla warfare when they weren't, in their designated areas of operation or so on and so forth. She was really big on that because it was, you set the traps over there and then you go over there. The traps go off, distracts everyone to go over there, and then boom, get them in the back. So the jury's still out how much credit they can give her, the one with the idea of sending the paratroopers in first.
Yeah.
But yeah, she became very close friends with Eleanor Roosevelt because she was just like, this woman is a bad bitch. Yeah. And I too myself am a classy bad bitch. So we should be bad bitches together.
I saw this. There was she did some kind of it was like a diplomatic tour, and she was given a speech in Chicago. And I love this quote. She says, "Gentlemen, I am 25 years old and I've killed 309 fascist invaders. Don't you think, gentlemen, that you have been hiding behind my back too long?" I mean, what a way to say, like, listen, I've killed 309 Nazis. What the fuck are you guys doing? Love it. And like how the American media, and of course this would be, their thing, were asking her about like, well, what do you wear? What kind of makeup do you wear in combat? Do you have to curl your hair? Like, and then she was just like, my uniform has killed 309 fascists. I don't think they noticed my skirt.
Yeah.
Like,
my
God, this woman.
They weren't taking her seriously because men in the 40s were the fucking worst, specifically here in the US. They all referred to her as like the girl sniper.
Yeah.
And so she was just like, 1, I'm a woman. 2, this is my name. 3, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's kind of cool. She said this one thing. They were just it was, they were trying to like kind of that same bullshit. It was just like, well, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why are you doing this? And it kind of made me think of like a line from Captain America that I kind of love so much was, he's like, what's his name? Stanley Tucci's character. Yes. He was like, do you want to kill Nazis? And he's like, I don't want to kill anyone. I just don't like bullies. That was kind of her thing. It was just like, I don't necessarily want to, I'm not doing this for like the love of the game. It's just fascists suck and they need to die. Like,
but
God just blessed me with very specific gifts, and one of them is killing Nazis.
But I just love that, they're asking her the most, inappropriate, sexist questions, right? Not like she has an interesting life story and look how amazing. Color it. If you if you were to take all of the things that she's accomplished and everything, and it's like we've talked before, you just write her as a character and then you don't give it a male or female. It's just a badass human being. But the fact that, this has happened to be a woman asking her, like, and she's just like, listen, I've killed over 300 people. I don't think anyone was worrying about what I was wearing, what my hair looked like. Who gives a fuck? I eradicated over 300 Nazis myself.
Oh, yeah. I forget what the asshole asked her, but he triggered her so much that she was, you want to go? She was getting ready to fight the guy. She challenged him to a fight. Like on the steps, like in Washington, D.C., like during her president, he was just like, hey, but you're a broad. Broads can't fight. She goes like, bitch, you want to go? Right. Let's do it. And she was ready to fight him. Like, I love it.
I love it so much.
Yeah, no, that's $1,000,000%. %. I actually have a quote here too, because same thing. Some assholes were asked, because men are fucking ridiculous. It was just like, oh, you're in these uniforms, like you said, something about like the skirts and so on and so forth. Someone was asked, like, more or less was like, what kind of underwear do you wear? Do you wear underwear?
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah. it's just, yeah, so on and so forth. The more that she was like, listen, this is the uniform. I think the quote says, I'm proud to wear the uniform of the legendary Red Army. It has been sanctified and baptized by the blood of my comrades who have fallen in combat against the fascists.
Nice.
And yours will follow suit if you keep pressing such concerns.
Wow.
What a bad bitch. I
Yeah.
love that.
Love it. Love it. I could see why
Yeah.
Eleanor was like fascinated by her.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's just what I love so much was the fact that she was just about her business during the war, and then like during the press stuff and all this other kind of fun stuff, she was still about my bullshit.
Yeah.
Like she was about that life.
Yeah. And, she lived out the rest of her life. I think she did finish her schooling, became a historian, just lived the rest of her life like she tried to live her life before the war. And I just...
Yeah, it's like, can I go back to my goddamn life now?
Right. I just want to... Like, an historian, right? She was a historian, like...
Yep. She finished out to become a historian, and sadly, she died of a stroke in 1974 at the very young age of 58.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
like,
so even that one
historian
just...
is now part of history. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. And she's still used, she's still used as like a symbol in, like in Russia and in other just European countries, like to this day. Like along the lines of like, she still answered any man, woman, and child, as you can clearly see, can like answer the call of duty to like do what they feel is right and just. Like she knew what she wanted to do. She was told she was going to do something else. The opportunity arose to do what she felt she needed to, and she just fucking handled her business. And then inspired and educated others upon how to handle said business. And terrify an entire army.
Well, it's like, we talked about in the last episode, there were so many of these, fictional characters that were just put into these situations that they had to rise to the occasion. Katniss Everdeen was put into that situation, and she didn't have she was not a killer, but she had, circumstance turned her into one. Same thing with this woman. She didn't set out. I mean, what more peaceful type of profession can you pick as a historian? But she was thrown into a situation and she realized, hey, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at...
I want to be a professional nerd.
Right, like, I'm really good at, protecting myself and protecting my people. And I just, it's just a good, badass woman story.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I just want to talk about history and other things to come. I have particular set of skills. Know where it came from, not important.
What makes you think, like, what capabilities do we all have? We just haven't been put into the circumstance,
I hope we're not put in the same circumstances that she was put into.
I know, but
I know,
like,
I'm just being a jackass.
It's... I just think back, again, talking about like the last episode, Carol, an unassuming, wife and mother turns into one of the deadliest characters on the show. Like, I feel like a lot of these scenarios were pulled from real life because we have these real life examples of women who just defied the odds and defied the stereotypes that were against them, because these women lived so far in the past, and we talk about sexism and stuff still in this country, or not this country, in the world, and there still does exist, but man, years and years ago it was a lot worse, and I think it's a good reminder for women to say, like, it's okay to be your authentic badass self, and You can just look back at history for inspiration to get all serious for a minute.
You want to talk about a modern day badass woman that will go down in history? I'm going to go ahead and say it. Not because I'm a parent. Miss Rachel. I swear, no, Ange, I'm so serious. I am so serious. A woman in modern history that is I fucking promise you, you will read about her in history books if they're not already. What she is doing for children around the world, not just her education, not just her show. She is not taking a stance on anything. The amount of waves that she is doing and how fiercely she is fighting for children. And everyone's like, oh, she's pro this and anti that. She's anti this and pro that. She goes like, I just want the fucking kids to be safe. Kill each other for all I give a goddamn, but get the fucking kids out first. She goes, I don't care what you do to each other. Kids should be fed. Kids should be clothed. Kids should be loved. Why is that such a thing? This woman is,
she's a pretty special, she's a pretty special woman.
I think it's horseshit that she only got Woman of the Year last year. She should have won like Time Magazines and whatever, like Person of the Year, because people say, oh, she's just privileged. She has fucking earned where she is. Has she had different opportunities? Absolutely. But she's reinvesting those opportunities in what she has created for herself for the greater good of humanity. I will fight tooth and with my dying breath that we are watching an insanely important woman of history in our own lifetime right now with her.
Well, and what's more important than our children collectively? You know, children are the most precious commodity that we have. I mean, it's so cliche to say, you know, children are our future, but literally, they are our future. And
they literally are.
And if we're ever going to have a better society for men and women, we have to raise children better. And I think she definitely plays a huge role into that. You know,
it's the writing is right there on the walls, what she's doing for children. She just exactly like her show itself. She saw, you know, her son has, I forget the name of it, but her son has that one specific learning disability. That's what made her start her show, was so that there was a program specifically designed for him. She said, why don't I share this with the world? When you have fucking Elmo calling you and asking you, hey, how do you do this to appeal? How do you do this for the greater good? Literally the gold standard of children's education and children's television. Fucking Elmo.
Yeah.
Is calling you. How do you do this? That's insane. Like, she has changed the world and she's continuing to do so.
Absolutely.
Rant over. For now. Episode 3 of Badass Women in History. It's an entire episode on Miss Rachel. It's just Miss Rachel.
It's Miss Rachel. Oh, well, I have really enjoyed this episode. Thank you all for listening to us rant about two of our favorite women, although we could have talked for hours and hours and hours. We thank you so much for sticking with us on this journey. Those of you who have bought merch, thank you so much. We are absolutely just, it's such a surreal thing to know that there's people out there wearing our stuff. It's it's as surreal as people on the other side of the globe listening to us. So thank you for all of your support. If you are interested in merch for the Silly Goose Society, the links are in the episode descriptions. You can go to our Instagram page and find info there. This helps us with costs of continuing to do this. Plus, you're helping us. You get some cool stuff to wear on your body or carry, because we have a bag. I guess you don't really wear a bag on your body, but
I mean, you kind of do. It could be a body bag. Nope, that's not what that is.
Should we do that?
Wait a minute, Silly Goose body bags.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Hold on a minute.
What you got in the hearse there? Silly goose. It says there right in the bag. Anyway. Thanks. Continue to do all the things like subscribe, share with your friends, all of that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
I feel we should end this episode on a high note.
Oh, God. Okay. Jesus Christ. My ears.
Just get for the fucking bottle.